Why? Just give me a minute, please. I'm just trying to make sure we get everything rolling. There's some sort of technical issue that just developed just now. Everything was working fine, but it suddenly developed a fault. So I'm just trying to work that out. Just give me a minute, please. Come on, come on. Okay. Right, we're good to go. So now you will be able to see something going up shortly. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I do beg your pardon if we're running slightly late, but we're trying to get everything lined up. Oh, man. Okay, just give me a minute, please. This should be there. I don't know why it's not there. It should be there. So let's go in here. It should be there. It's ready to go. Yeah, it is ready to go. Why did this suddenly break down? Oh, okay. Sorry. I know what's happened. Okay. Now. Okay, so good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Citizen AY. Apologies for running late. Technical issues as ever. You all know how that operates sometimes. So good afternoon and welcome. Good afternoon and welcome to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. You know how that works sometimes. When you're trying to get things to ruin, it becomes an issue and you kind of had a problem with that. So without much further ado, we are here now, which is the main thing. I urge you all, if you haven't subscribed to Citizen AY on YouTube, go ahead and do so right now. Let me just get this up and done. Oh, goodness gracious me. You're kidding me, right? You're kidding me, right? Oh, malfunction, severe malfunction. 1 second, please. Give me a minute. Let's do this. Speaker. See if I can get this guy on. 1 second. There is another way to do it, but it might echo. But I'm going to mute it. Sorry about this. Okay. Something's just happened online live right now, and I'm terribly sorry about this. But I'm going to do it. There's another way around it, and we might have to do that just now until I can at least get in there. So let's participants, admit. Okay. Make host. Okay, yeah. Now. Okay. So here we are. I'm gonna just do something here. So let's make this okay here. There's a problem and I'm having to switch straight away. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you can see me now. I do apologize. There's been some sort of issue. So we're going to bring in me and Tony in a minute. So we got that problem solved. I do apologize for the mix-up, but sometimes these things do happen. So I'm going to just do this, pin this one here and pin that one there. So I'm going to replace pin. So we will pin two people gallery there. Okay. So, and I will just hide this one. I will hide this one. Hide self-view. Okay, good. So we're good to go. Now, let me once again welcome you all to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I do apologize for the mix-up, and there's been some sort of a hold-up. Normally, the broadcast is a lot more, it's a lot more stable, but never mind. These things do happen. and sometimes you just have to just roll with it. Things do happen. Now let's go straight into it, and we have Tony NNADI in waiting there, so I do apologize for that delay. But what we're going to do is we're going to move straight away to the broadcast at the beginning, and here we have. I want you to listen to this, then we'll bring Tony in. So here we are. It's about the Ruga alert, swindling amendments. Very, very important piece of information that all of us should really be aware of. If you haven't shared this broadcast, please go ahead and do so right now. It's very, very important. We need your support and your help in getting that information out there. Don't forget to subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube, because Facebook, as you know, they do play all their games and everything else. So what we're trying to do is to make sure that you get the information as, you know, and when we get it. This is such an important information. It will have an impact on the rest of our lives collectively as Middle Belt, as Southwest and Southeast. This is potentially something that is very damaging for all of us if we do not take collective action together. If we fail to take collective action to deal with it, what will happen is all of this, all the actions will just go, you know, let's just say we don't even want to contemplate that. So please, just carry on, continue to share the broadcast. I can't quite pick out one or two things. I'm trying to pick out what is going on with the broadcast, but never mind. So here we are. We're going to play the broadcast now. So I'm playing the Ruga alert. Listen to it. Here you go.
Once more, we come to you from the Secretariat of the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS. With this emergency broadcast, something extraordinary has just happened. It has to do with the amendment exercise, the current amendment, the 2022 amendment process to the 1999 Constitution. What we are about to listen to now will determine what will happen to this union of death. If we grasp it and take action, we might escape. Otherwise, the caliphate that imposed that constitution has found a way. At the time, our attention was focused on what's going on in Ukraine, to smuggle in their pathway to the Ruga. The Ruga they've tried to bring in, you know, through all kinds of ways that have been blocked so many times. They've continued in this push to constitutional amendment in a manner that is loaded with all kinds of things. Of course, it was their knee-jerk reaction to the constitutional force majeure, you know, the union dispute declared on the 20th of the 16th of December in 2020. That was how it was initiated. But what we see now is that in the midst of the long list of matters that they have slated for their so-called amendment, they managed to smuggle in something none of you will have imagined was their purpose for pursuing the entire amendment process. Just like in the Obasanjo's third term campaign, it was because he wanted to remove the term limit in the Constitution that he initiated the whole long list of amendments that looked all so beautiful until that one item was identified and it scuttled the entire process. This 2022 Constitution Amendment round is targeted at paving a clear pathway for how the Ruga that the Fulani have been targeting across the whole country can be institutionalized via the Constitution, Constitutional Amendment. How have they, structured it? The so-called local government autonomy, by which the finance of the local government is supposed to be coming straight to them from the federal government or the sharing in Abuja. One side of the story, which is the beautiful side, is that, it is to, curb the corruption that have been introduced to local government funds by the governors who steal from it. Nobody is thinking about how to curb the heavy corruption that is going on in Abuja. It is the one of local government that has become more important. Accountability. Everybody, the union, Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees are rejoicing that all will be well. That's one side of the story, that is all going to get well and development to come to local government. But their purpose is to take control of your communities by being directly in charge of the local governments, because in that direct allocation to local governments, INEC will take over the function of conducting election into local governments. So basically what they are doing, what that amendment will do, is to remove the governors from the equation, so that the federal government that is under the exclusive control of the Fulani in all its tiers, in all its departments and arms, will now be in charge of your local governments, meaning your communities. And when INEC, when federal government, when Abuja is the one selecting or processing who will be council chairman in all the 704 local government areas, and Abuja is the one to transmit money that is allocation to them every month, the governors are no longer able to meddle with it. It is whatever Abuja wants that will happen in your communities. That's where we've landed, if nothing happens now to halt the journey to this, to the conclusion of this amendment exercise. All the other things they put, NINAS already answered them. NINAS already told everybody that the issues to be addressed in Nigeria, the constitutional dispute on the table, is not one for National Assembly to meddle in. They are just committing treason against the rest of us for stepping into our sovereignties, to now be the one discussing our constitution. Constitution making, the mandate of National Assembly is limited to lawmaking. It doesn't extend to constitution making. Constitution making requires constituent powers that are exclusive to the constituents. It is the units that could have been countries of their own that will have to discuss on how to form a union. That is where the power to make constitution comes from. The lawyers in the land, we want everybody to confront the lawyers they know in their own areas. Anywhere you find any lawyer in Nigeria, especially the ones who go to the TV to deceive people about all kinds of things. Section 14(2)(a) of that constitution, even as bad as it is, admits, confesses that sovereignty belongs to the people, from whom government, through that constitution, derives all its powers and authority. There's no other way. Like the memo and articles of a company is the exclusive business of the owners of the company. The owners of this enterprise are the Yoruba that could be a country of 60 million people, or the eastern side that could be a country of 70 million people, or the middle belt that could be a country of 40, 50 million people. Those are the ones who have to come to submit their sovereignties and then decide the terms on how they want to relate. And so the National Assembly already know that they do not have constituent powers to either make or remake our constitution. But the force behind that National Assembly at this time is the caliphate that wants to take over your lands to now establish the aruga that you've been blocking them from doing. And so it is by taking direct charge of the local government that they are going to be able to do that. What can we do now? Because it's one thing to get to know about a problem, and to get another to find solution. NINAS has a solution, but we are time bound if we have to save ourselves from this impending calamity. That solution is this. The process of amendment, as we can see in the Constitution, if we go to check, the process of amendment does not begin and end in the National Assembly. The state assemblies, 2/3 of the states, let us listen carefully. The key to our salvation right now, the key to halting the amendment process, the same way the third term was shut down in Obasanjo's presidency, we are able to shoot down this round of amendment to save ourselves from falling into an irreversible situation in which our land now belongs to these invaders. And so the solution to the problem at this time is that, because the requirement for completing that amendment process involves the concurrence of no less than 2/3 of the states of Nigeria, there are 36 states, so 24 states must agree with the National Assembly whenever they finish collating what they have approved for amendment. The way to scuttle that movement to that amendment is that the state assemblies must know that it is only if they vote yes for these amendments that it will sail through. And so NINAS is challenging the state assemblies of the South and of the Middle Belt, all of the state assemblies. And it's in that same regard, calling in the governors of the states. They know how they do their business in their states. They know how they collaborate with their state assemblies for all the other things they've been doing. This is now an emergency. The governors of those states, the state assemblies of those states of the South and the Middle Belt, because this is now a caliphate agenda that is being driven through the National Assembly in the name of the Constitution. And so NINAS is inviting the state assemblies to wake up and block any possibility of passing, in terms of concurrence, the resolution that will support this amendment that the National Assembly has processed for this round. Let us forget all the things that may look like improvement, which they've done. They want everything they move to the concurrent list in the amendments they've done. If you go and read, you will see that in that concurrence list, the federal government still has an upper hand. If the federal government has any interest in the subject matter, the federal government will override you. So there's nothing that has changed. All the things are cosmetic. The important things that should change, they are not addressing them. It is the preamble that says that we, the people, have submitted our sovereignty and that we have made constitution. Those are the things that must be addressed before we go to any other thing. Otherwise, what we have now in as 1999 constitution does not represent any union agreement. We have not met, we have not agreed, we've not made any constitution. And so we come back to what has to be done. Those state assemblies and their governors must now collaborate to make sure that no single state in the South or in the Middle Belt will pass a resolution for adopting this round of amendments. If we do that, the exercise is at an end. If we don't do it, we will, by acquiescence, allow them to pass this amendment that allows them control of our local government areas and our communities. We know that the transitional rulers are attached to the local government. The stipend they get in the month comes from what the local governments get. And so this caliphate has perfected a plan to go and get hold of our grassroots, the local governments and the communities. The Ruga will just be a matter of, it won't even be so many years. It will just be a matter of instant. Whatever land they want, they will take it, because there's nobody there now to, there's nobody at all to slow them down. I think that's what we have, the 1999 Constitution that they are standing upon. If we don't take down that Constitution, we're handing ourselves over as slaves to the masters that want to, exterminate us. Let us come together now and shoot down that Constitution to save ourselves from the bondage we have been in for so long, but which is now going to get worse if we allow some more powers to be assumed. We saw what happened with the petroleum industry bill, in which the communities that bear the oil, that bear the brunt of oil production in Nigeria, were deceived into an amendment, a petroleum industry bill that will make life better for them. What did they come out with? 3%. And then communities in the north, where pipelines pass, now become, oil, whatever they call it, oil producing oil, whatever they call it. They now allow them 10% or something much higher than the ones who are bearing the brunt. That's the kind of thing you get under this constitution. Our best bet is to act now that we can. State assemblies and the governors of those states of the South and Middle Belt, let no one, pass any resolution in support of this amendment. The peoples of these states, if these amendments pass, your land is gone for good, straight in the hands of the Fulani. And therefore, the members of the House of Assembly, your tenure will come to an end. The governors of those states, your tenure will come to an end. The people who are going to be at the receiving end are the owners of the land that will be taken for Ruga. if any such thing should happen, let it be known to all of us that those who are in that assembly, those who are the governors of today, will be held responsible by those whose lands will be, because it will come down to a fight. That's where it will end. If people say they can't accept this, which they're already saying in various ways. But let us know for sure that the first line of rage, the first line of pushback, the first line of knowing who to hold by the glove, by the neck, will be those members of the House of Assembly that will pass, any House of Assembly that will pass a resolution in support of this amendment. Let all the members of that House, let the governor of that state know that they are the individuals that will be held responsible for whatever goes wrong in this matter. I think we can drop it there.
Why travel to Buckingham when you can own your castle, your...
Hello very much. Hello, Tony. Welcome back. Welcome back, Tony. Thanks for joining us. And the video was a long one. I hope you will all be all permit us and accept our just accept us as we are. Thank you very much. And welcome on board, Tony NNADI, the legal practitioner. And the video that we watch now, please give us a bit more breakdown. Let's make it very easy and simple for the people who are watching us live right now. You talked about the amendments.
Yes.
Just before we go into that, could you just, I know people probably know you, but just for those who may not, just give them a quick synopsis of yourself, a little bit, just like a minute or two. Just,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome viewers. Tony NNADI is my name, like you've been told, and I'm a legal practitioner. I also happen to be the convening secretary for the organization, the joint multi-regional cooperation we called Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS, which is the joint jailbreak design strategy by the South and the Middle Belt, by the peoples of the South and the Middle Belt of Nigeria, who have found themselves in this trap called Nigeria, this union of death, in which stranger elements, the Fulani, that are still pouring into our space, have managed to become the owners of the land by all kinds of brigandage. And they now have one of them as president, leading them in that campaign to exterminate the owners of the land and take over the lands. And that's what NINAS is, the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, is the coming together of all of those in that danger to extricate themselves from what Nigeria has become for them. Their forefathers agreed to, the Federation of Nigeria that their forefathers signed up to in 1960 had long been overtaken by the unitarism that is now exclusively controlled by one section of the country, the Fulani. That's what we're doing.
Thank you. Now, thank you very much for taking the time to explain the background. And we actually also, many of us know who you are, but nonetheless, we are grateful for the work you've been doing. You've been at this for a long time, for very, very many years. And we're grateful. And many of us, we didn't fully understand. And perhaps we're busy partying or whatever. But we are now with you on this journey. And I hope many of us from the Middle Belt to the Southwest, Southeast, we need to stand together, and the purpose of today's broadcast is to ensure that our unity is solid, unbreakable in the face of this unrelenting pressure from the marauders who were chased out of Central African Republic. Now, let's break down for the people who are at home what you mean when you talk about the amendment being like a, let's just say, a noose around our necks. And from the video from your talk in the video, tell us a bit more about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we've all been hearing about, Fulani herdsmen that have been coming in large numbers into communities, killing people, and generally taking over their communities. And then in some of the areas in southern Kaduna where they have already overwhelmed the local, the indigenous populations, they've actually renamed the communities. They've turned them to emirates and all of that. If you look at the map of Nigeria, coming from the 12 contiguous states of the far north, you will see that it's a well-organized military, conquest campaign that is coming down towards the Atlantic Ocean. Mm-hmm. They are done with those 12 states, much as they are not the owners of the land. They are the Hausa owners and the other indigenous nationalities in Sokoto and Kano, Zamfara, all through, who are not Fulani. Otherwise, let somebody explain the reason the killings are happening in Zamfara and Niger State areas. These are non-Fulani indigenous nationalities that are being wiped out by the Fulani invaders. Now, they're in the Middle Belt areas, wiping off people. They are moving, their advanced teams are already in the south, they're in Yoruba land, they're in Igbo land, they're in Ijo land, and all to the Atlantic waterfront across the southern belt. And what is going on now in the amendment, because that constitution that we've been telling everybody is the source of our misery, is the cage in which we are held.
Yeah.
That is, whatever is our complaint, whether we are being killed in the Middle Belt or we are being slaughtered in Igbo land, or our assets have been detained in Ijo land, oil and gas, whatever it is we say is wrong with the Nigeria, for which we want something else, for which we want out of the union. It is that constitution that creates the union. It is that constitution that ties us leg and hand. It is that constitution that seizes the assets. It is that constitution that confiscate the guns from us and put in the hands of these invaders who all have also, put themselves in government over us. And the amendment that was going on, I'm sure we remember the many times that there was an attempt at the National Assembly to introduce all kinds of things that will amount to Ruga, amount to, conversion of our ancestral spaces into colonies of the Fulani, in the name of cattle rearing, just like the Fulani herdsmen are coming to your space in the name of cow herding. They're not herding no cow. No. They're just finding an excuse to come to your community, and then they kill you and take your land. And now they came as they said they wanted to reestablish the old grazing routes. They jumped into it, and then people resisted them in National Assembly. It failed. Then they say, oh, they have old grazing reserves. They have to, by executive fiat, Buhari even wanted to just mark out all kinds of lands across all kinds of places to say they had grazing reserves that were there before everybody was born. Again, it was resisted.
Yeah.
They came with the one they say waterways. They wanted to seize all the waterways. Up to the stream in your village will belong to the government if that amendment had been allowed. So they've tried this thing, the one they call national livestock. They've come in 6 different ways, trying to introduce. They even came to where they wanted to amend the Land Use Act.
Yeah.
So that it can remove the control of the lands from the state governors, because that was why they couldn't deal with land without reverting to the governors. Having tried all of this and seeing that they are being blocked every time they turn up, they went back to their drawing board, of course, guided by the British, sponsors. They went back to their drawing board to now devise this very ingenious way of getting at the same objective. The amendment, the whole long list of things they've done in this last round of amendment is ongoing, because it doesn't, the good thing, the remedy available to us today is that they've not finished with that amendment, and they cannot finish with it unless our state assemblies, 24 states in the minimum, vote in concurrence in support of the amendments they've proposed. It's still at the level of proposition now. And that is why this emergency broadcast, to let everybody know that we are just one step away from losing our lands across the 7 and 74 local government areas. How have they planned it? They called it local government autonomy. They dressed it well. Just like Obasanjo's third term, gambit, where he put a long list of items that had to be amended, but with one of them removing the term limits. And it was that one item that was his principal objective. But he had to disguise it with all kinds of other issues that were, that were being thrown up in that period for amendment. And the same way, what they've done in the name of local government autonomy, they say, oh, governors are corrupt. Governors are taking money of local government. And therefore, federal government has to come in to remove the governors from being able to do that. Joint local government state account. So that monies can go directly from federation account to the local government areas, and then development will overtake everybody. That's one side of the story. The real intention, for which they now put a long list of other things in the name of amendment, is that the condition for sending money directly to the local government is that INEC will also be conducting elections into the local government areas. Before now, it is the state election commissions that used to conduct elections into local government areas. How will it play out, and what's the implication? How does it relate to Ruga? Now, if the allocations that used to come to the states, to the local government through the states, will now come from the federation account directly, that means the local government chairman, the local government council, are no longer going to be paying attention to whatever governor has to say. It will be Abuja dealing directly with them. And then on top of that, INEC that will now conduct elections into local government areas. The Fulani is in 100% control of INEC in Abuja.
Exactly.
Therefore, it is the Fulani elements that will process who and who are going to be council chairman across the length and breadth of Nigeria.
Tony, may I just interject there? That is a very important point. You just said the INEC are going to be the ones controlling the local government area. Is that correct? Am I?
No, INEC will be the ones conducting elections into local government council.
Conducting the elections. Is that not actually...
Before now, it was the states, because local government is a state affair.
Exactly.
It has never been a federal affair. There's no federation in which the central government is also in charge of what happens in local government area, only in Nigeria.
So now, they are now bypassing the state to now,
precisely,
by force, instruct them on carrying out elections. So the states, they've taken the powers from the state, so removing them.
The process has not been completed. It can only be completed if we go to sleep and we allow them to complete it. What has happened so far is that the National Assembly has, listed all of what will change. They've debated it, they've passed it, they voted. But the process of amendment, as bad as the constitution is, as much a fraud as it is, the process of amendment prescribed by it also requires concurrence by 2/3 of the states. We have 36 states. So 2/3 of the states must vote in concurrence. That's the state assemblies must vote in support, a yes or no vote in at least 24 states that is positive in support of the amendments they've proposed. That is when the amendments will take effect. That is when they will complete the amendment. And so at this point, the reason we went into this broadcast to alert everybody across the land is that it is now in our hands to do. If we choose to go to sleep, our lands are gone. If the state assemblies will pass those concurrence resolutions, 24 states. In the alliance of NINAS, at least we have 17 states in the south.
Correct.
We have a number of states in the middle belt. It will be anything between 5 and 7 that the Benue will not support that amendment that will put their lands in the hands of the Fulani.
Indeed.
And all kinds of states in between. Plateau should not. And all the ones in that axis. So we have several states from which we can make sure that those who are looking for how to take over our lands permanently do not get the 24 states assemblies to vote in support of this amendment that will immediately open us up, hand over our lands to stranger elements. Because once INEC is the one to conduct the election, we can be sure of the outcome. The governors can no longer, they don't even have to be told. INEC can, in April, if they complete that process today, INEC can in the next...
Whoops, you okay? Are you all right there?
INEC can, just in 1 month's time, declare elections, say, oh, many governors have not conducted elections for so long. if it has been up to 3 years since the last time you conduct election,
Yeah.
INEC can actually roll out a timetable for how to conduct elections in
And
local
take it
government
over.
areas. And then anybody, they are the ones to process.
Wow.
They are the ones to do everything and declare who has won. But that's not where it ends.
At this point,
There's a
what?
just hold on.
Okay.
There's a second mischief so that we can see the full picture of what has happened and what we can do.
Yes.
There's a second mischief. You saw in those lists of amendments.
Yes.
They also talked about indigenship, registration.
Yes.
The one of citizenship, I want us to pay close attention. The one of citizenship they've already achieved.
Yeah.
All of those millions of Fulani people that
They are
are
now
poured in from everywhere in Africa.
Yes.
As they are coming in, the
They've
man
been-
in charge of our database is one of their own.
Pantami.
And they've been documented as citizens of Nigeria already.
Wow.
So let nobody mix up that. They already have citizenship of Nigeria by registration that was done for them by their kinsmen who are in charge of the affairs of Nigeria in Abuja.
Critically, they are allowed to vote as well, are they?
Everything you can
You
do.
see?
They have the
Wow.
national identity card you don't yet have.
Wow.
And they can do everything.
Wow.
Now, when they come to the local communities, if they want to, if elections are coming, of course, the local, the indigenous people know who and who belong to their community. It doesn't matter how long you've been hanging around.
Yeah.
And so what they want to do is to break that last, ring of resistance such that those people who have been in one Fulani or Hausa gathering in one place or the other, they always have a place they gather in Ibadan. They have a place they gather in Port Harcourt where they dwell. And so with that amendment to that constitution that now allows registration as indigent, quite apart from citizenship, as indigent. So if they say if you have lived in a place for 5 years, you can then register. If the amendment passes, it becomes a constitutional matter that even your governor or the people in the state cannot do anything about. Wow. Because the agency in charge of that registration is also the federal agency controlled by Fulani. And so they're going to register all those people who have been living in your community pretending to be selling cow or herding cow or shining shoes. They will become indigents of your community. And therefore, when elections come, as indigent, they are eligible to go to contest to be local government chairman. And since it is their kinsmen in Abuja that are processing the entire thing, whoever they declare winner will become the winner. Council chairman and the councillors will now become more populated. It doesn't stop there. There's an existing mischief that will now more or less graft into this.
Yeah.
The local, the traditional rulers, our traditional rulers, they are on a stipend. They are paid salary by government.
Yeah.
That salary is made up of 5% of whatever comes to local government. Wow. So if local government is given 200 million naira,
they get 5%.
That 5% is 10 million naira for that local government. Now, if there's one paramount ruler in the area, of course, there are some paramount rulers that have a jurisdiction over 3 local government areas. So the 5% will come from all. There are in some of local governments where there are 2 or 3 of them. They will share that 10 million into the 2 or 3 according to their rank. That's why they're always fighting for autonomous status and all of that so that they can get that 5%. Now, see the way it plays. That the traditional rulers, because we are now talking about land, let us not lose sight of Ruga. What is it in all these amendments that will lead to the taking over of your community land to become Fulani colony for all times? When the traditional ruler in your community is dependent on what he gets from local government chairman or local government allocation, his allegiance is immediately to where his money comes from.
Absolutely.
And so the local government chairman that is installed by INEC in Abuja, who is likely to be Fulani or their nominees in your neighborhood, between the chairman and the traditional ruler, considering the fact that there's money standing in between, if you don't behave yourself, you may be removed. Something may happen to that money that comes to you. And so anywhere they point that they want Ruga, that traditional ruler of yours will point them to the most fertile of your land and settle them there. The governor is not able to do anything because the local government chairman is working with the traditional ruler in your community.
Of course.
So they have effectively become the owners of your land across the 707 local government areas of the country. that second amendment of making
indigenous,
bringing indigenous to become
that's correct.
Strangers to become indigent by registration. Of course, they say they didn't pass it, but it doesn't change anything much.
It doesn't.
Because since they have become citizens,
Indeed,
and INEC is the one to conduct the election. Tell me what you will do if INEC accept them as candidates and declare them as winners.
There's nothing we can do. There's nothing
because
we can do.
They're going to hide under another provision of that same dubious constitution to say that they are entitled to equal treatment in every part of the country. They only wanted to ease it some more by claiming the status of indigent by that dubious suggestion for amendment. And so that's where we are now. The emergency we have in our hand is that it is up to us. It is within our reach, if we will listen to ourselves, to mobilize and make sure that none of our state assemblies will even introduce that subject for discussion, this amendment that they've done. Because the main thing that we're complaining about, nobody wants to talk about them. We are saying that in the preamble, the claim in the preamble that we have submitted our sovereignty is the number one thing that has to be addressed before any other thing.
Indeed.
The Constitution says, we the people, having solemnly resolved to live in unity as indivisible country, do hereby make and give unto ourselves the following Constitution. That is the claim. That is what all this constitutional force majeure is all about. We have not. The Yoruba is saying, we have not agreed to submit our sovereignty into any union called Nigeria.
Indeed.
The Ijaw is saying the same. The Igbo is saying the same. All of us in 3/4 of Nigeria are saying the same. If anybody is gathered in Abuja in the name of a constitution we did not make, because it's like putting your signature on a document that takes your assets.
It's a forgery.
Yes. So and they sit in Abuja pretending to now be the custodians of our sovereignty. Whereas that same constitution says that sovereignty belongs to the people. Sovereignty belongs to the Yoruba, to the Ijaw, to the Ogoni.
Exactly.
To the chief, to the baron, from whom government derives all its powers and authority from that constitution we make.
Indeed.
In consequence of our sovereignty. That's what it is. And so that document is a fraud. The 36 states that are anchored on it are their own creations. The National Assembly is a creation of that constitution on account of the 36 states. That's why the senators come from where they come. That's where we have all this, the exclusive list that make it impossible for us to own our assets or work our assets. We can't get electricity. We're not the owners of the ports, our waters.
Yes.
We're not the owners of our solid minerals.
Mineral resources.
We're not the owners of our oil and gas. And so we are saying that we have to resolve that question of whether we have submitted our sovereignty to be in one union. And secondly, whether we have now drafted articles they call the Constitution to regulate that union. Those are the things that must be resolved before we go to any other question in the union dispute that we have raised. And so it is within our reach to insist, to mobilize ourselves against our own state assemblies and governors and tell them for sure that if anybody should introduce such a bill in terms of wanting, because they put a lot of money, they can pull 200 billion from the treasury now. And they make available 100 million to the House of Assembly members. You won't even know about it.
You won't know.
It will just come as a alert to them, and they will summon them. They need only simple majority. So the speaker doesn't even have to tell everybody. They know the troublemakers. They look for their yes men, and they come. They say you have voted. That state has passed it, and before you know it, by the time they put their own 12 states in the far north and put the ones they control in the middle belt, they will have the black legs Imo, for instance, where there's a Hope Uzodinma that is representing them. What's the name of this one in Cross River? You know, they will find their own people who they have planted in all kinds of places to get to 24. That is what they need to pass this amendment. But shame on all of us if we can't get 13 states from within this alliance to block that amendment. If that amendment is blocked, that's the end of the entire suggestion. If that amendment is not blocked, your land is lost.
So our focus right now as a people, as Middle Belt, as Southwest, and then all the states of the South. Our focus now, and the Middle Belt. Our focus now, what should be our strategy right now to confront this amendment?
Our strategy now is to raise our voices, whatever we have to do, because it is the state assemblies that will have to approve. Let us come down from the language of concurrence.
Yes.
It is the state assemblies that will have to approve of this amendment before they become any kind of law.
Okay.
And they need no less than 24 for that amendment to pass. And if out of 36 states, 17 are already in the South, 24 states, if you have 13 states
Yes.
that are not prepared to entertain the discussion, that means they can never get to 24.
No.
If you have 14, 15, 16, the more the better.
The more the better.
Of the number of states that will not even entertain that discussion at all.
So
it is within our reach to raise our voices and say it as loudly as I'm saying it now across the length and breadth of Nigeria, whether we are home or abroad, to say that this amendment is a continuation of the fraud. The people, the senators and the House members from the South and the Middle Belt who were sitting with them in that Council of the Wicked in Abuja to pass this amendment that will seize our lands, they have their own case to answer before us already. They've already committed their own treason against us by going to work with the enemy to seize our lands. If any of them tells you they do not know that this is the consequence, tell them they are lying. Let them come to national TV to say they did not know, so that we can know that they are hollow. We can know that they are empty. We can know that they are ignorant. If they know and they took money, because most of the time there are things they give when they want certain votes. They give them the things they also want for themselves.
I'm with you.
And so they vote yes in favor of something that will ruin their people. So the senators and the House members from the South and Middle Belt of Nigeria have already connived, have already corroborated.
They sold their own people.
The enemy against their own people. They've already committed treason against us in handing us over to the enemy. But that is how far they've gone. It hasn't been concluded. The conclusion of the matter will come from our state assemblies. Our task right now is to join in whichever way we can, raise our voices to tell the governors of those states, to tell the speakers of those states, to tell the members of the House of Assembly, any one person who will sit in any state assembly on the day they pass this concurrence, on the day they approve of this amendment, should the peoples of the area should know that these are the ones that handed our land over to the Fulanis.
Right. Okay.
Whatever you can do to anybody who comes to take your land, to hand over to people who are killing you, should be their fate. It has to be. This is a fight. Because if we do not stop them, whatever we are going to do the day after they've done it will be a matter of these enemies will already be in
place already
possession
of our land.
That will be a bigger fight.
Okay. So now what we are doing now, because I'm trying to, there's a few things that I wanted to make sure that people understand and we are very clear about. The fact that we are having the union of the Middle Belt, Southwest and Southeast coming together to actually separate from this contraption and making sure we take the steps that you just mentioned. That fact does not remove that those nations like Middle Belt, Igbo land and Yoruba are still going for their own independence. It doesn't remove that.
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
So that's very important.
Let us explain. Let us explain something there so that our people don't think we're just going and scratching our heads. From 1999, when this constitution was first imposed, we looked at it and we rejoiced that they put our signature on a document we did not make as basis of holding on to our assets they already seized since 1967.
Yeah.
They seized these assets since 1967.
Indeed.
And they've been trying to make it permanent by getting some of our own renegades to come and join hands with them and pretend that there's a democracy anchored on a constitution we have made. And we said, instead of just going to pull down that constitution and land everybody in Somalia, let us first organize our people in the formations they will take back their sovereignty, because it's our sovereignty that we're talking about. It's the Yoruba sovereignty that will be a country of over 50, 60 million people.
Yes.
That is now Nigeria is occupying under that pretense, under that forgery. It is the sovereignty of 70 million people, the people you now call the South, South, and Southeast, Ijaw, Igbo, Ogoni, Anang, Efik. It is their individual sovereignties that have been confiscated in that pretense that they submitted under that constitution. And so when we say we want to take down the Constitution, many of our people think we are discussing some document that has to be written or rewritten. No, we are saying we have not agreed to be in the union. If that Constitution goes down today, that union is at an end. And the reason we went, single-mindedly against the document all these years is that we want to end the union of death Nigeria has become for all of us.
Indeed.
The union our fathers agreed to in Lancaster House was a federation.
Yes.
And a secular union.
Indeed.
We are no longer a federation, all of us know.
Exactly.
We are no longer a secular union.
No.
And so having departed from those fundamentals, the rest of us who are now in this alliance are saying that constitution by which the union is being, the union is convened as of today. It is that constitution that holds Yoruba land and call it Nigeria. Is that constitution that holds Igbo land and call it Nigeria? Is that constitution that took the waters of Yoruba land and say is a Nigerian Ports Authority and put Fulani Custom Controller General in Lagos? Is that constitution that took all the oil and gas assets of the Niger Delta and make it oil block for people from Mederibe and the rest of them from Maiduguri and Sokoto? It is that constitution that took the limestone of Benue and hand over to Dangote to become the richest man in Africa.
Exactly.
And his other brother called Bua in Sokoto. It is that constitution that took all the guns in the land and put in the hands of these people who are invading us. And so when we say we have to take down the constitution, the ignoramuses amongst us, the ignoramus, including some lawyers, I don't blame those who do not know. Those who do not know the meaning of constitution are saying we are talking, they think it's some kind of theory. If you want, we are in a cage. We're in a cage. That cage, Yoruba is in that cage. Igbo is in that cage. Ijo is in that cage. TV is in that cage. Berom is in that cage. Kataf is in that cage. And we say, let us act together. If Yoruba want to leave the Nigerian Union, and they say, oh, no, we don't agree now, like it happened when Abiola was, pushed out of the way. Yoruba was fed up with the union. And they say, oh, we leave. But they couldn't do it because the caliphate was able to rally the rest of the country against them, to stop them. Ogoni had been in that situation. Oh, we want to leave. The Honka and Sarowiwa. Eastern Nigeria got into that situation. Oh, no, we are now Biafra. We are no longer here. They surrounded them 360 degrees and beat them down, killed 3.5 million of them at the time. So every time any one group is offended enough to want to leave, you saw what happened in the Middle Belt. You know about the thief riots. You saw what Gideon Okanko said and tried to do. The same thing Samuel Otom is facing today. These people are bent on killing off the owners of the land across the length and breadth of the land so that it can become a Fulani country. You've seen them throw our borders open. You've seen the governor in Bauchi telling us that Fulani from all over Africa belong here. And everything they're able to do is empowered by that constitution. But it is your signature that is sustaining that constitution. And we have been trying in the last 22 years to rally all of those in that dilemma, in that death trap, to pull back their signature together so that nobody is isolated and beaten down. That's what we've been trying to tell them. That's what they're not listening to. Some say they want you want restructuring. What is the meaning of restructuring? Restructuring is reconstruction. Let us take down the building that was there before. That's that constitution. Let's put it aside. The moment we put it aside, we have come to a no union situation. Every other discussion will be a matter of Yoruba, please, do you still want to be in union with us? Nobody is going to answer that question for Yoruba people other than by referendum. No politician is going to answer it for Yoruba people. And
That's
so
true.
If we are so close to something that can bring us to where we are voting in referendum, because we're a majority, there's really nothing the caliphate can do. There's nothing the Fulani can do. If anybody will understand the meaning of what they try to do in this amendment, it is because they've been defeated. They are now looking for, the difference between a robber and a thief.
Yeah.
Stealing and robbery. Stealing, you want to come when the man has gone to work.
Yes.
To break into his apartment quietly and carry what you want to carry. That is stealing. Or to pick his pocket in the time he's not looking.
Yeah.
That is stealing. Robbery is where you go get gun or knife or some offensive weapon, going to him whether he's awake or asleep. If he tries to resist you, you behead him and take what you can. That is what we are. We've come from where these people, in their arrogance, had done everything to intimidate us, and beat us out of the way and take everything. Now they see that it is no longer viable because our alliance has become a majority that will beat them down if they dare us to a fight. And so they are now going to tiptoe to go to what they want to take from us. That's why they had to disguise this whole thing into local government autonomy. And you saw people rejoicing all over the place. The local government employees, the Nigerian Union of Local Government, everybody is rejoicing. And they instigated that noise for us to begin to rejoice. That local government is now going to be free of corruption of government.
Indeed.
And nobody was able, none of our senators, none of our House members who sat with them in those could raise their voice to say, could put the two and two of it together. Is it not clear? Is it not very clear that that's where they are going?
Yeah.
How come we couldn't find even one senator or one House member from the South or Middle Belt that would say, no? So our fate is in our hands.
It is.
We have to stand up and deal with this matter. The question of taking down the constitution to end this union.
Yeah.
All of those who want Odua nation.
Yes.
That's Yoruba nation.
Yes.
We have a template. We have a potent plan that can deliver that Yoruba sovereignty to you inside 2022. If you will listen, if you will put aside all the sentiments and conjectures, what is the meaning of constitution? Why did we launch this kind of onslaught against the constitution? Why did we organize ourselves in such a manner that everybody will have their own constitutions in their hand, their own charters of relationship for the multilingual areas? So that by the time we take down that, but then we say we can't proceed beyond this point, we will fall back into those, those sovereign spaces. The Yoruba land.
Indeed.
Will be where it is. Yoruba people who already are here. Yoruba people are not going to return from Egypt or from California. Yoruba people are already in Yoruba land, but they're not in control of anything. They're not in control of who will govern them because INEC in Abuja will do so. They're not in control of the ports from where Nigeria takes 2 to 3 trillion every year. They're not in control of the bitumen of Ondo or the oil and gas of Ondo. They're not in control of even their security, common security that everybody can provide. University communities have their police. Counties have their police. Regional and all kinds of... in the UK, we have what we call autonomous regional regiment. You won't find English soldiers carrying gun around Scotland. You won't find Scottish policemen shooting people in England. That's the kind of thing. That's the kind of federation we agreed to form in 1960. But today, only the Fulani are in control of your army, your police, your immigration, your customs, your everything that carries gun, including prisons and civil defense. Apart from DSS, NIA, every agency that carries gun, look at who is in control, not only at the center, not only at the topmost. Check who is your police commissioner. Check who is in control of the armory in your location, in your state. Who holds the key to where they keep gun? It is Fulani all through.
From top to bottom.
Where the money is come from. Look at this this petroleum we are shouting about now.
Yeah.
The head of NNPC, if you line up the 10 people who are speaking to us concerning petroleum and why we don't have it now, you will see that it's one Kyari in NNPC, another Mohammed in NNPC, another Garba in NNPC or Villa, the minister Buhari in Villa, all of them from one small section of the country. So they control the source of money and they control all the guns.
They do.
And you still pretend you are the owner of your sovereignty in your space. The law that they used to govern you was imposed exclusively by them. And
Indeed.
they put your signature there as the one who authorized them to become the owner of your land.
Yeah.
And we are calling you, we have been whispering to our people quietly. These things I'm saying now should have been said quietly amongst ourselves all the while. But when you come to, Tony, you are talking about theory. Let us go and get our land. By what mechanism? When you have a mechanism that will delegitimize the presence of the Fulani,
Indeed.
the day we complete the process.
Yeah.
But our people are not listening. They want Biafra now, Odua now. By what mechanism? What you are doing is actually causing the biggest setback to the possibility of freeing this place from the control and the ownership of the Fulani.
What I would like to ask Tony at this point, and
Yes.
thank you for your quite detailed discussion, and I'm hoping people are following what we're saying here. A lot of people seem to have a lot of reservations, and they're saying a lot of things that, this and that, and you've cleared up the issue about the three different nations or that will stand up should they go, that we can go a separate way, that the plan is not to create a new kind of another southern nation bloc. It's meant to be individuals. Now the next question to ask now is this: what steps exactly should each of the people in each indigene take to take ownership? Because that is what we need for the people to be able to do at this point. What critical steps can they take? We know that it's the INEC is imposing themselves bypassing the governors, the state government, and carrying out. They can carry out elections in our state. We know that the 5% is being used, given to each of the chiefs or kings in the area, is being used as a way to divide everything else.
No, so hold on 1 second, so we don't mislead our people. What you're talking about now are still at the level of proposition by the National Assembly. The amendment has not been done.
Yes, so
the amendment has not been concluded.
It's not.
That is what they are planning to do.
But we need. How do we stop it?
I understand your question to mean. I understand your question to mean. What do we do to stop them? What are the practical things we can do to stop them from completing that amendment? Is that your question?
That's correct. That's very correct.
Those from Ogun State, wherever they live on the face of the earth, because their land is gone if they do not do it, should summon themselves however they can to mount pressure on their state assembly, Ogun State Assembly.
Yes.
To insist that nobody should even introduce the bill of supporting the amendment because the resolution they are looking for, the 24 states they are looking for, is the resolution from Houses of Assembly. So I know that if Ogun people know that their land will be lost if this amendment is completed, they know what to do to organize themselves to bring pressure to bear on their House of Assembly members. They know who the members are.
Right.
And it takes going to vote in a resolution. It takes that assembly passing that resolution to say, oh, we agree with the amendment that is proposed by Abuja. If Ogun State is doing their own, and your state is doing their own, and Abia State is doing their own, and Benue is doing their own, it's a matter of information. It wouldn't take us more than 2-3 weeks if we voices. The same way I've raised my voice now, that this cannot be allowed. And anybody who does it will be the enemy of the people. And because it is something of life and death, if our lands are handed over to people who are already here killing us,
yes,
and our own people go to validate a process that now hands the land over to them legitimately, so that they can now sit there and become the law unto us. Such people should be taken up by their own people.
Yeah. Indeed.
You understand? Such people should become the enemies of the people to the point of boxing and wrestling.
That's it.
If anybody, I am from a place called, I'm from the part of the country, the eastern part of the country that falls in Abia State. I don't know what Abia State and Imo State and all those states that Nigeria called us. I don't know what they mean.
It's all an idea.
But that is where we are today. And there are people sitting in one corner of Omaya that are House of Assembly that will now go into a session and pass a resolution in support of this Ruga. We are saying that it falls on me and people from that part, the people from Ohafia, from Abriba, from Bend, everywhere, all the way to Arochukwu, the other end. All of us must know that if we fold our arms and pretend it doesn't concern us because we live in California, if they go and vote and then Fulani people become the owners of our land, it will be our fault. If we set up that fight and they still go, let us see how 20 or 25 people, because that's the number that go to House of Assembly, and the governor that coordinates them, we should also mount the pressure against the governors. Let people raise their voices to say there must be a commitment from the State Assembly. there must be, we must shout to the point where the state assembly, the governors of those states will say that these amendments will not pass in our state.
Okay. So now, please, on that particular point, and I'm really trying to make
you understand what I'm trying to explain?
I
that
understand.
is the action we have to take right now.
So
to block that amendment that they are proposing.
So and that would include.
Are we still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello, moderator.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Tony, I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you, Tony.
Right.
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Good.
Yes.
Now, sorry, my screen is playing up a little bit somewhat, but don't worry, I can hear you. Now, one of the thing is this. So, for example, the steps that people can take now, I'm just trying to break it down a little bit more because we need to speak to our people at the ground level. Because the people who are being affected are the ones who are at the ground level. So we are saying that things like your House of Assembly, your senators,
you will be affected. You are in UK today.
Yes.
Imagine that by the time you are coming back for Christmas in December, that you now have a Fulani local government chairman and councillor.
Yes.
And your land is now Ruga. Yes. Will it not affect you?
Of course, it will affect us. Yes, and that's the problem. So this is and so this is very, very important. So we need our people to really now go and at a local level and begin to put pressure on those who got themselves elected and start saying
the state assembly members, and the governor of each state.
So we need to put pressure on them.
Let there be citizens of that state. Let there be indigenous of that state that will form themselves into a vanguard group.
Indeed.
To insist that there must be an open commitment that this amendment will not pass in this state.
Indeed.
If we have 13 states that will do so, this amendment is dead.
Yeah.
If we cannot find 13, 14, 15 states that will do so, 13 will do. But that's still borderline because they can come with Ghana must go and see just get that one at the time we're not looking.
Exactly.
So if we have 20, better. That these states will come out to say, this amendment will bring us to the point where this Ruga we've been running away from will happen. Therefore, we are not going to contemplate it here. We're not going to even entertain the discussion on it.
No.
So it dies in the Abuja where it was being
where it was
contemplated.
Yeah. Okay, so right now our focus is to repeat to everybody on the ground. Please, in your state, in your village, in your town, in your communities, get up now. Focus on your state of assembly, House of Assembly members, and your governors, and tell them they must not sign.
It is an emergency. Focus and tell them that they have to say it. Those assembly members, if it is the speaker, if it is the governor, whoever can say it on their behalf, let it become an issue that if this amendment is allowed to pass, it will amount to the state assembly handing over their land to Fulani people.
Indeed.
Let the local people understand that is what it means. And so let everybody who can speak, they don't even need to be local people.
No.
Our people in the diaspora are the ones who can call up the governors and the senators to say, what role are you playing in this?
Indeed.
Our land is going into the hands of the Fulani.
Indeed.
So that that pressure can be from all sides. Between the state assembly members and the governors. They have to say it loud and clear that these amendments will not be allowed, will not even be considered in their state assemblies.
Okay. Do we have?
Let us go to what will solve our problem. It is that the journey to election under that constitution, because it's all a continuation of the same discussion.
Exactly.
That is the next thing we have to talk about now.
Tony, quick question. Do we have a date? Do we have a date when this amendment is going to be tabled before the House?
They have to schedule it from the point. What happened the other day when which date was it? I think it was the 1st of March or some the day they voted in Abuja.
Yeah.
The National Assembly has completed their own process of amendment. For that amendment to become law, to become effective, it is now the states that have to do, 24 states who have to vote yes, for what they've done. Okay. Now, the question of when the states will do that is each of the states that there must be this period. If we did not raise the alarm, we raised the day after the amendment. They probably would have, walked it through.
Yes.
They probably would have been done with it by now.
And so it is that alarm we raised that has become the impediment on their way. And if more people join in raising that alarm now, because it's their land that will be lost. It's not NINAS that will fail. It is their land that will be lost.
Exactly.
And so it is that alarm that has to be expanded now, that has to be raised to another decibel to get the governor to speak up and the speaker to say these amendments will not be contemplated in our assembly. That is where the task is now. So if we go to sleep, they will come at night and do it. We wake up the next morning to hear it's done.
Exactly.
They have too much money to use. But if we do it now, after a while, it will become clear that the amendments were rejected, were not supported by the minimum numbers required in terms of states and resolutions.
Yeah. Okay. Now, so what you said something before. You said, and this is quite. You said if we do not take action now, someone like myself, who's abroad, we suddenly say we go home. We go home to a house or whatever. And you suddenly find that because we did not take the action that we are requesting for now, the land that we have our house on, and the house is in the hands of the Fulani, who's the council of the area.
Your community is now Ruga, part of
That
Ruga.
is it.
Go and find out what happened to Qatar people.
Yes.
They gave small land, and then the land was expanded 3 times over. Swallowing all the community, all the areas, and now I think it's about 70 hectares some crazy number.
Yeah.
It will just be declared that is a territory, because we're not talking about land and ownership. Once it has been earmarked for Ruga, anything else you are doing there, you are now at the mercy of the Fulani who own it, because that's why they call it cow colony. Your laws don't apply to those places.
No. Very, very
important. It has become Fulani land.
So it is really important for our people, those of us abroad, more importantly, because many of us have homes. This is the thing. We have homes in those areas. So we may think that this will not impact us. But what we are saying is that should we fall silent, if we stay silent and we let the amendment go through, our houses, all of the whatever we have is under threat. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Our land is gone. Our land is gone for good into the hands of the Fulani. If our state assemblies
do not
concur, do not block those amendments right now.
Okay.
That's what will happen.
So please, the call out is for all of us now to please put aside the differences.
Mobilize ourselves.
We need
mobilize ourselves and make sure that our state assemblies block this amendment by refusing to entertain, any session on the resolution about the amendments that have been done by Abuja. Okay,
so our House of Assemblymen, all of the people, the governors, they are our focus right now. They are the people we need to be going
on that subject,
and making sure that they do what we, the people, the indigenous people who own the land want, which is not to pass this amendment.
Yes.
Okay. So we will have to come back and be doing this kind of broadcast on a regular basis, because we need to. People are not aware of the dangers that we face. Now, the other thing, to bear in mind in this is that we have to make sure that people understand that they can still clamor for their independence, their nations, and all of that. But this is an addition to going for that. This is more. This is
an emergency, because that land they are clamoring for independence for.
Yeah.
If it first gets into the hand of the Fulani as the indigenous owners, because that's where it will land.
Yeah.
The name we assumed, that Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, excludes the Fulani from the Union of Nigeria.
I'm with you. Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
So they are struggling. Standing on the constitution they impose on us, to now legitimize themselves as indigenous people too. That's what they try to do by this amendment.
I'm with you. So this is of immense. This should be our main focus right now. What is going on now?
So we have defeated them in that main argument of are you here, are you not here?
Yes.
They are now coming through the back door to try to pass an amendment on the constitution they already imposed to allow their people to become indigenous.
They are not indigenous here. The rest of us here are indigenous, and they are the only ones killing everybody everywhere.
So in effect,
if the matter not resolved, since they are relying on our signature, embedded in that constitution, by their own subterfuge.
Exactly. Okay. So now, so what are the next steps now? Because I know we wanted to, we have to come back and keep reiterating this. But what are the next steps we should take?
The constitutional force majeure that we launched in December of 2020 was to take down that constitution and end this union of death, so that everybody can take back their sovereignty and then go into the discussion with whoever they want to relate with going forward. Those who want to stay by themselves will stay by themselves. I don't want to live with anybody anymore. I want to be in my space. It is in taking down that constitution that you come to where you are taking that decision by referendum. If you don't act now that we are inviting you to act, they already advertised the election for February of 2023. And that is the only avenue left for the Fulani to retain this union, to drag us to election. All of those from the South and Middle Belt who want to take us to election are actually working for the enemy to have 4 more years to complete the conquest mission. And it is that constitution that put the guns in their hand and all the monies in their hand and all the law in their hand that they require to complete that conquest. The time is choking them now.
Yes.
They can't complete it except they drag us to election. Yes. So it is actually in our hand to stop them from dragging us to elections that will give them 4 more years to consolidate what they are doing in conquest against us. Will it not be our fault if we allow them to get through with their plan of taking us to election under that constitution?
It will be our fault. It will definitely
It will be the fault of the renegades from our midst who are not listening, those who want to be president, those who want to be senator, those who want to do PDP and APC. But the rest of us will be complicit in it if we don't stand up and stop them, because our life is what they're going to waste.
It is.
Our land is what they're going to lose to the enemy. They already stole enough to go to live in Switzerland, or in the US, or in the UK, wherever they've kept their stolen, proceeds of their
wealth.
crime.
Yeah.
And so we're saying now that there's only one little thing left for us to recover our sovereignty. If our people will listen, it shouldn't take more than a few months. Inside 2022, if having repudiated the 1999 Constitution as a fraud, the international community is waiting for us, and I'm reporting to us what I know from direct involvement with the people dealing with it in Washington and New York.
Okay.
The international community is waiting to see whether we are serious in rejecting that constitution, because we cannot be rejecting that constitution and planning to go to election that will validate the life of it one more time. Imagine in South Africa of Oliver Tambo and Nelson Mandela and Governor Mbeki, that you came to 1985 when the apartheid constitution has been defeated, and you saw some black people saying, look, just one more time, let's go and get our own benefit. Let's take our turn at presiding over the rape. Let's take our turn. That is how it sounds in my ear when they say, oh, Igbo presidency.
Yeah, it is
Those
crazy.
charlatans who are talking about Igbo presidency, by what constitution would they govern? What is their answer to the heartache that our signature is being used to sustain our sovereignty in the hands of strangers who are killing us to take our land permanently? The day after the election, the day after 2023 election, imagine that we get there. Imagine that one of Yoruba or Igbo become president.
Yeah.
Would that dissolve the 36 states into which they fractured us? Would
No way.
remove the 68 items on the exclusive list, because you now have to be at their mercy for changing the order of those? You can't even raise the discussion. Was Obasanjo not president for 8 years? Was Jonathan not president for more than 6 years? Did any of those things change the situation of the Ijo and their oil?
No, it didn't.
Did the Yoruba situation change because Obasanjo was president? So what is this talk about is our turn to be president?
No.
Is it a quarrel between PDP and APC that we're discussing now?
No.
Or the quarrel between the Fulani and the owners of Nigeria?
So, okay.
If out of 200 million people, all of those who are going to be sworn in if elections happen in 2023 are just 1,500 in number. That one president, one vice president, 36 governors, 109 senators, 360 House members. Add all the ministers and commissioners they will appoint. They still come to just about 1,500 1,500, add all the House of Assembly members, they still come to less than 1,500 in number. That's the number of people dragging these 200 million people to death.
To death.
If the rest of us cannot stop them, then we truly deserve to be killed. We truly deserve to be impoverished. We truly deserve to be enslaved. We have a plan on the table by which we can just say that we will not go to another election under this constitution that render us slaves in our land. That's all that is left right now from the 22-year work we have done.
So
those who do not understand the meaning of constitution and who are thinking that we are pursuing something less than the freedom, the total independence, the sovereignty they are looking for, these are illiterates. They may have PhDs. I'm sorry. Constitution means constitution, that you constitute yourself into union with your neighbor. That's what constitution means. So if there are people who are saying, let us take down constitution, they are saying, let us end union. If you are doing anything, no matter what that thing is, if you are doing anything else, you are an impediment to the sovereignty, to the recovery of your sovereignty, the sovereignty of your people. Anybody who is not doing what we ask them to do now is the one aiding the enemy that is holding everybody hostage. It could be out of ignorance. It could be out of greed for those who want to be governor and senator. But whatever it is, if you are not involved in how we break this cage so that everybody can come out of it, Yoruba will come out of it, Igbo will come out of it, Ijo will come out of it, and they will have their sovereignty in their hand. It will then be the second question. What do they do with their sovereignty? It is only the referendum, and that is the referendum you have been looking for. It is not by writing, making opinion poll that you get a referendum. It is by causing a disruption on ground. We have made a case for how we can tell those who want to take us to election that you can't take us to election under this constitution.
Right.
If we can't find enough numbers of our people that are going to stand up to these political parties and the political merchants in our midst, then we truly deserve to be killed. We are not worthy of our lands. If we allow a few greedy people who are not listening to anything for their personal political growth, they want to be president. And then what? They want to be governor. And so what? How does that solve this problem that is a question of life and death for millions of people? But if those millions cannot stand up and say, we don't want to die, therefore we don't want to go to election that will renew the life of this constitution by which we are being killed, then I'm prepared to accept that they truly deserve to be enslaved, they truly deserve to be killed, they truly deserve to be governed by cows.
No, I mean, this is why we're raising the alert and the awareness. So we will have to do more programs like this with yourself and a few other panels as well to discuss this at length. Because the key thing about the amendments, many people were not aware of that. And I want to thank you for the work you've been doing in bringing this to our attention. Because many of us would not have been aware of what's been going on about the proposed amendment that is actually going to impact. It means that we will lose our land, literally lose our land permanently. But that work doesn't end there. It means we have to continue to educate and engage with everybody in the Middle Belt, Southwest, Southeast, Middle Belt and all of South. You know, we need to really engage, and that would mean
there are two compartments for those who do not understand what NINAS is doing or saying. There are two compartments to the task. The first compartment is the one in which we have to act together to break that cage. That is to take down that constitution by shutting down the journey to election. That is one task. The other task is what will happen to our sovereignties because when that constitution is taken down, the union anchored on it is at an end. So there's no Nigeria of 1999. What we now have is the sovereignties that were confiscated being let loose. And so the second compartment of the task is, where are those Yoruba stakeholders? Where is that Yoruba vanguard group that will be the one the international community will be looking at the time they are deciding whether to support the sovereignty of the Yoruba from the Nigeria that is now holding? They must have a charter in their hand. They must have a constitution in their hand. They must show their capacity to organize themselves. They must show understanding of what it is to manage the life of 60 million people in the 21st century. So that's that's where the Odua nation proponents, that's where they have to take charge. It's not the Ijaw people that will come and recover Yoruba land and begin to repair it for Yoruba people. No, it is Yoruba people. So where are those Yoruba people that are organizing themselves, ready to sit down in New York or Washington with the external stakeholders, the owners of Shell and Mobil and Coca-Cola? You don't know how much Coca-Cola, we don't know how much all these other businesses contribute to this discussion in the backdrop. And so I was saying that there are two tasks. The task of taking down the constitution we must do together. The East, the West, the Middle Belt, to the exclusion of the caliphate that is trying to swallow us. That is what NINAS is leading the charge. And also the task of taking our sovereignty, because if Nigeria is no longer going to be in charge of our security and our economy and our infrastructure, what are we doing to show that we are able to organize? Those who say, oh, it has to be several, the world will not come and create 300 countries for us because Nigeria is not holding. That's why we came to the areas. Yoruba is lucky. Their one language is so straightforward. But in the eastern part, where you have several languages, somebody may say, oh, Niger Delta, Asaba, all the way to Abo and the Banke. What is their language? River State, all the way to Boni, from Ikwereland. What is their language? When you now say, oh, it's South-South, were you on the table the day you were called South-South? No. Junaid Mohammed was taunting them when they say Jonathan has to take second tenure for the turn of the South-South as presidency. They say, have you forgotten that South-South is a creation of the North to manage their interests in Eastern Nigeria? What are we talking about? Self-determination. Ogoni, small as they may be, are entitled to self-determination. Isoko is entitled to self-determination. Ishekiri is entitled to self-determination. Ijaw is entitled to self-determination. And so, in our proposition, we went down to sit down with everybody, say, Ijaw, where's your land? They stand on it. Is any part missing? No. Ogoni, where's your land? Stand on it. Ogoja, where's your land? Stand on it. Anang, Efik, Igbo, everybody stand on your land. Is Nigeria working for any of you? No. Will you want to recover your sovereignty and begin to be in charge of how things happen there? Yes. Okay. Can we get into a charter, some kind of a written an understanding that will grant the kind of constitution that will operate in the place? On what terms are you what are the terms by which you are prepared to live in this place? You want to be the owner of your asset, wonderful. You want to hold human life sacrosanct, is guaranteed. You want to hold all men born equal, guaranteed. So all those things, healthcare, education, how do we feed our people? How do we house our people? We now draw up a charter for how everybody can relate in that. The same thing in the Middle Belt. Tiv, Idoma, Jukun, Berom, all of us. How do we live in this place so that the Fulani is not the one organizing us? We reduce it to writing, put a map to it, put a charter to it, so that by the time we are going, you saw when we went to the UN in September of last year, so that by the time we are going to tell the rest of the world that this is what we the formation in which we want to go from what Lugard and his UK, Britain imposed on us, will be like a civilized people who have the capacity to take charge of the lives of 150 million people in 3 compartments that will relate, not in war, but in cooperation. Those are the 2 things NINAS is offering to break the hand of that monster that is holding like an octopus. Nigeria has become a sovereignty, sitting on our various sovereignties, like octopus, with 36 hands, controlled from Abuja and Sokoto. So we have now a formula. We have now a potent mechanism, a potent strategy, time-bound. If we listen to ourselves, we finish this business inside 2022. But if we go to sleep and allow these few elements to drag us to election that the caliphate wants for themselves, then it will be a fault.
that we do not yet want to be free. We want the Fulani to come and govern us for another 100 years before we begin to wake up. That's what it is. Because if we don't finish this business now, it will not be in our hand to dictate when it will be finished. We are closer to finishing it now than we will be if we allow them to go to another election. Somebody will say, let's go gradually.
So right now, our focus is number one, that amendment. Each of the states in the South, Middle Belt and the South, we need our people on the ground to to speak to and get forcefully engaged with the House of Assembly and governors.
To prevail, the people are the owners of the sovereignty they are sitting on.
Yeah.
To prevail on our Houses of Assembly and the governors that organize the states, that rule over the states, that these amendments cannot pass. These amendments cannot be supported. Nobody should sit in the House of Assembly to say they are considering the resolution for how to support or not support.
So, but many of these people, as we all see, they are already out. They've got their campaigning gear on. So our people need to confront them with those gear on. We need to confront them head on. Our
people need to tell them, imagine, are we to suggest that Yoruba land cannot find 100 people like NNADI that will stand firm and tell those who are waving party flags across Yoruba land that you want to sell us into slavery? We are talking about constitution that make us slave. You want to go and be president or governor under that constitution?
Yeah.
Like are we saying we can't find a sufficient number of people that will lead that campaign against those people doing political party? If we can't find them, let us get ready to be enslaved. If after what we have done in these last 22 years, our people walk with their eyes wide open into prison the second time, then that is what they deserve. That's where they need to be. That's where they deserve to be.
We will not let that happen.
They are arguing blindly. They are arguing blindly with things they don't understand. What do you want your Yoruba nation? You want Biafra. What is your strategy for we have a plan that is timeline. We have a plan that has been worked more than 80%. The only thing remaining now, can we stop the journey to the renewal of the election? If we do that, we go into transition and referendum and the matter is over. Every other thing is a waste of everybody's time.
Could it be that these Southerners and Middle Beltans who signed up to this, they are doing this for their own interest, obviously, their own pocket and for their own...
They are doing it for what they get for themselves. Some of them are just ignorant. We've interacted sufficiently with them to know that it's between ignorance and dishonesty amongst all of them.
Right.
But what about the rest of us?
Yeah.
Where are we in that discussion? Is it not our mandate that they are going to exercise? And we're telling them that our sovereignty is not part of what we handed to them on the day of election. Is that not a straightforward thing?
It is. But we mustn't relent.
Send them on a small errand. They now go there to expand their mandate to say that they're the ones discussing us. So they're committing treason against us in going to sit in Abuja on our behalf, discussing with those who are holding us in bondage what our sovereignty. We didn't give them our sovereignty to go and negotiate in Abuja.
No, we didn't. So
the indolence begins with us in not dragging them out for that challenge on our sovereignty.
So what would you say to everybody in the Middle Belt and South now, every indigenous people, as to how they can? I mean, we've spoken about it. They need to take some steps, but even more forcefully, we need to.
As at now, there are two choices to be made. If we want to be free from the killings, if we want to be free from the bondage imposed on us via that constitution by the caliphate, the only thing we have to do now is to stop those who are dragging us towards election that will revalidate the life of that constitution, because we have defeated that constitution.
Yes.
The only thing that can give it back a small life to allow them continue their conquest is if they drag us to election.
And we don't want elections.
Election is in February of 2023. Yeah. We have all the time between now and that time to stop them from taking us to election, because we should be asking them the day after the election, how does this problem get solved?
Exactly.
If any one of them tells you he's going to solve it after he has won, tell such a person, whether it's Atiku or Mogalo or Ojikalo or whoever amongst them, whoever that says to you, trust me, if I win, I will do it. Tell such a person that NNADI said he's a criminal. We sat down with Atiku in 2016
when he started running his mouth about restructuring. We went and sat down with him in his place in Abuja, all of us from the South, to say, what do you mean by the restructuring? Because the restructuring we're talking about is one in which we take this constitution aside as a fraud. We then go into a two-step procedure in which our people will vote first to recommit to union or to opt out of union. It is after that vote that they will now come to discussing if they had voted to stay in union. They will now go to the question of writing constitution. I see some people who claim to be lawyers talking about let us go and write another constitution. It's not we've never campaigned for writing any new constitution. We are saying let us take out the fraud. Let us then go into the process of forming a union when our people vote, provided our people vote to go to union. Nothing will happen until our people have voted to go to union. So, those who are not able to understand should shut up their mouth and stop deceiving other people. That's what we are doing. There's nothing else we are doing. And if you are looking for Odua Republic, and you are looking for Biafra Republic, and you are looking for resource control, and you are looking for regional autonomy, and you cannot be part of how this constitution that prevents all of that is taken down, then you are a fraud. If you are ignorant, then your level of ignorance is such that you should be tied up and taken out of community.
Okay. Now, one of the things that we had three key points, and I think now we are probably in the area of the third one, the strategies of how we are going to achieve that. At this point, I wonder if we could open the phone line if people want to call in. Are you okay with that? For a few minutes, Tony. Hello, Tony. Ooh, I think it's gone. Hello, Tony. Can you hear me? Tony Nadi. Hello. Hello, Tony. I've just lost you just now. Can you hear me? Ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to reestablish contact with Tony Nadi. Myself, I'm here as well, but obviously, let's just check one thing. Sorry about that. Yeah, I am here. So Tony will be back. I'm not sure. I think we probably just lost signal. As you know, what we do over there doesn't. Let me bring Tony back. Oh, sorry, he may be doing something actually. So, listen. What I wanted to say is this: we will probably be taking one or two calls when it comes back. If it comes back, and if you have questions, I've tried to read as many of the things that has been posted by people. I think at this juncture, we need to really hear each other, give each other that space and time to be able to achieve this common goal, because the things he said now are very, very important. I'll take this call. Hello, caller. Yeah, go ahead. Hello, caller. Can you hear me? Hello. We're here. Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm trying to connect you. Oh, it's just gone. Okay. We are here. 1 second. I'll try and. So if you want to call in, you can call in on 447399580-606. We might do maybe 20 minutes or an hour. I don't know, depending on how the discussion goes. It's important. You see, the job of we'll try and do it this way. What we in the press are doing is just basically trying to bring information to the general public, so that you can make an informed decision. As you all know now, there is no such thing as a press in contractual Nigeria. There is no such thing as a press in contractual Nigeria, because they are all being controlled. Let me get this call again, see if I can. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Yeah, hello, Mr.
Yeah, hello.
AY.
Yeah, good afternoon, my brother. Yeah, go ahead. Hello?
Yes, Mr. AY.
Yes.
Are you hearing me clearly?
I'm hearing you clear, yes.
Yes. Yeah, my name is Judo Kafo. I'm calling from New York City.
Yes.
Originally, I'm from a place called Agbo in Delta State.
Yes.
Mr. Tony Nandi, I don't know what to say about him. He's a one Nigerialist. He's been talking about constitution for the past 7 years, but this man has never approached the court about drafting this constitution. And he's an agent of Nigeria. He's not fighting for freedom. He's fighting for.
Oh, network. Okay. Sorry. Do try and call back in again. Let me take the next call and let's see. Hello, are you there? Okay. Let me. You call me back. 1 second. Hello, caller. Hello. Hello, caller. Can you hear me? Hello. Hello, caller. Can you hear me? Hello.
Hello?
Yes, I'm going.
Hello,
yeah.
Hey, Mr. Sinewa,
Yeah.
as much as I don't even like Tony NNADI because he got to Shenipa United Nations told me what against the Sunday Buwati.
Yes.
Sharing Koto Soyi,
Yes.
really were very important.
Very important, indeed.
Pressman fáwọn ìlànà kọ́ba wa issue press conference fún nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn gbàtọ́ yẹ pé a ní ẹni tó máa ń bá wa issue press conference fún nǹkan báyìí ní ìlànà.
Ara nǹkan tá a máa ṣe náà nìyẹn. A máa ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. 1 second. Yes. 1 second. Hello, Tony. Hello. Mo ń get yín. Yeah. Mo ń get yín.
So èmi fi pé irú bàtà ti gbọ́n sí kí ìlànà bá wa release press conference.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Even though I trust the press. But ṣé mo kọ̀ọ̀kan táwọn ìlànà bá ń release ó máa ń.
Ọdún ni ọkọ̀ máa ṣe náà nìyẹn. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
You call awareness fún gbogbo àwọn idiot governor ta nìyẹn.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni. So it is quite. Yeah, it's not a bad idea, and I support the idea. I think it's a good idea. Ẹ ṣeun gan ni. Ẹ ṣeun. Oda, bye. Hello, caller. So.
Hello?
Yeah, hello. Good afternoon, my brother. Go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Y.
I'm going. Ekason. Please. Yeah, Egbon's okay.
Hello, Citizen Y.
Yeah, and we can hear you. I'm going. Egbon's okay. We can hear you.
I thank you for all your effort.
Thank you.
And I don't know where Mr. Tony is right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring him back in.
Searching to get him back on the
I am
online.
Yeah.
Tell him I say good morning. I don't know which city he is, but I think the right word to tell him right now is.
Please come back in, or are you?
It could be evening
Can you come back in?
time. It could be evening time where he is.
Yes, we can.
We can.
Yeah.
Good morning.
1 second. Okay.
That's the same way Sarowiwa had
Okay.
good morning.
1 second. Somebody's talking just now.
By
1 second.
4 p.m., the day he was going to be killed, the day of his assassination, he heard from Ojukwu said to him, good morning. Because someone like Mr. Tony NNADI failed to listen,
1 second.
failed to read the handwriting on the wall. But he is coming out of his shell now. All he's actually seeing now is what Mazen Namdi Kano saw in 2011 and started shouting.
Yeah.
Today he's telling you of one group he just formed and they are in. But he couldn't tell you about the Lower Niger Congress that he has been fighting against Mazen Namdi Kano.
Mr. Moderator.
Yeah.
Mr. Moderator, if you can't stop him,
I will.
the program is at an end.
Hold on.
If you can't stop him,
I will.
this madness.
My brother, hold on. Hold on, please. Hold on. Oh. Okay. Okay, my brother, thank you so much. I hear you. 1 second, please. I got to take another call, please. Yeah, go ahead. Hello? So, I can hear... Hello? We're here.
Yeah, I'm here.
So, the call, obviously, look, we will not please everybody. And I would just say, I'm so sorry you can't see my face right now, everybody. Because I got some sort of technical issue. But never mind. I'm still on the screen. You can see me there and you can hear me. Well, we have Tony here. Tony is back online with us. And we're going to take, if you want to call in and ask 1 or 2 questions, we're happy for you to do so. It's important. Tony has had to, okay, let me just take somebody else's call. And then hopefully we can take it that way. Go ahead. Hello? Hello, caller. Yeah? Hello, caller.
This is AY.
Yes.
Well,
Go ahead.
no, how you doing?
Not bad, my brother.
Sincerely speaking.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I hear you loud and clear.
Sincerely speaking, what Tony Nadi is saying now.
Yeah.
But the problem I have with Tony Nadi is this.
Yes.
Who is bankrolling Tony Nadi? That's number one question. Who is this oil company Tony Nadi is talking about that we will discuss with oil companies? Do Tony Nadi think? That's number 3 question.
Hello? My brother. Hello? Okay. Tony, I'll let you answer that.
On our behalf.
Okay.
Go to Biafra land. All the people, every place is just like a war. The military are doing their job. And who is bringing all this military? The governors are bringing these people in to kill our people. Because Eastern Security is there. Eastern Security Network is there. And
I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. My brother, what do you think about the fact that the Fulanis are trying to take over by using indigenous this amendment to take our land? What do you think about that? Hello, my brother, are you there? Can you answer that question? Hello? Hello? Hello, my brother, are you there? Okay, Tony.
They have no answer. They have no answers for you. Can we go on with what we came to discuss
today? Go ahead.
Instead of wasting the time.
Hello, is that Dr. Mood? 1 second. Hello, let me just Tony. Somebody wants to ask a question. Dr. Modupe.
Step away from the yeah, I have a question for Tony.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yes, good morning. I've been following the program for a minute now. So and I know that Tony put something out there that that the Ominira Yoruba, the signature that is being collected right now, that is mainly not going to go anywhere because because it's like basically like a distraction, and correct me if I'm wrong. But also during this program, Tony said that that the Yoruba people need to each block need to get ready, for the time when, after the constitution is being pulled down, that that's not the time to now be, be writing your constitution. That's not the time for you to be, gathering your people together, that you need to be doing it now. So, so in saying that, is it not the same thing that the Ominira, because what the Ominira Yoruba thing is doing, and according to what I actually watched the woman say, was that, is that, that the purpose is so that we're getting ready. So we're getting all of the structure, the structures that we need, we're getting them ready.
Yeah.
So the signature, the collection of the signatures, I just for, what is it called? Oh, I'm missing the word now. I just information.
Yes.
The information, like basically like opinion poll, just like he said.
Yes.
So it's not a deviation from the NINAS agenda. NINA has a solid agenda. Nobody's deviating from it.
Okay.
But it's just it's a part. It's just a way of getting ready.
Yeah.
For the eventuality that when the constitution gets pulled down, so we are not scrambling to now put structure together at that time. But
okay.
I want him to clarify that. That's why I'm calling him.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mutwe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks. Bye now.
Let me start the answers from the last question. I will go back to the other two. I hope they are all hearing me.
Yeah. Yes.
Good.
Right.
Dr. Modupe, just before you drop, are you aware?
Oh, she just dropped. She just dropped now. So.
Okay. Let me don't answer generally.
Yeah.
What the NINA Secretariat had to respond to was an announcement attached to that attached itself to that petition, 5 million man petition hunt. Okay. That announcement by people who were not bold enough to put their names to it actually said that once that they were telling Yoruba people to please move now and sign, that once 5 million is attained in terms of signature, that Yoruba will form interim government, print their currencies, and print international passports, and all of that, begin to administer Yoruba land, pending when other things are finalized. That is what these are specifics. It was announcing an outcome that is not viable, that is not going to be so, and the people know that it's not going to be so, because these were some of the things IPOB was doing over the years. More than 4 times, they advertised that Biafra had been discussed. It will be announced on specific dates if only people can do X, Y, Z. And then people went about killing themselves and throwing money at them. That's what we wanted to correct. That because many people are under the impression that it is what NINAS, is leading. That those people who are doing that petition, because we also have a petition on behalf of all before the United Nations Security Council and Trusteeship Council. And so the only correction we have gone to make is not about the petition itself. We are saying that petition, that promise, that expectation that if 5 million is attained, that it now becomes the basis of starting off Yoruba governance and printing of currency and all kinds of things.
Is that what it says in the document? Because I don't know.
That's what the document said. That was the document we were responding to. That document was deceiving Yoruba people into something that is known to them to be a lie.
Okay.
Even if we have, just to make it absolutely clear.
Yeah.
What we need to get to where the UN or anybody will come is for us to create a constitutional logjam. And it is that constitutional logjam that will take us to transition and the referendums that will be used to resolve that logjam.
Okay.
Even if we have 10 million signatories, even if we have 10 million signatures getting to the UN today, it does not become the basis of UN saying, okay, you have become free, go and govern yourself. But that is what the people who put out that announcement were doing. And that announcement has been out there since 2 weeks. More than 2 weeks.
Would you mind giving me a direct quote on that? Because I'm looking at it and I
can send it. I can send it to you right now.
Okay.
And I will request you to please read it out as you get it. I'm sending it to you right now.
I don't.
So that you can read and see what
I think
they put out on behalf of Yoruba people, presenting Yoruba people that I know as people who do not know what they are doing.
I have to be very. You see, this what you said now. For me, our program today was really about discussing the amendments and everything else. This question that's been asked now is something that's sort of not part of the plan. So I don't want to deviate too much. We'll probably do a program about this separately after things are considered. I don't want to shoot off the hip about this because it's as you all know, it's a sensitive area that we all are trying to pull to one cause, which is to get self-determination. And I'm conscious that if we're not careful, it will become a sort of research and it sort of goes all over the place. So I would like to look at that at another time, because the program today was really about the amendment, and if we bring this into it, I'm worried that the information that people were listening to will get sidetracked, and I would rather let's deal with that particular project, that particular question another time, if you see what I'm saying, because it's a thorny thing.
Okay, no problem with that. I'm just clarifying to the lady that asked the question that it is not the petition that is the problem. The problem is the falsehood that has been put in circulation. Once they get to 5 million, Yoruba will become free that day. That is what we are responding to. So we leave that one.
Send me the details. Send me the details in the meantime, so at least I can look at it and make comparisons.
Your phone.
Okay.
Now we go back to the callers. I had one from New York. I don't know where the other one called from. One was talking about Tony just waking up to some the illiteracy. There's ignorance that is being celebrated here. The person speaking does not understand the meaning of constitution. If we set out in 1999, it took over 250 years to bring us to where we are locked down. That constitution did not start in 1999. It has its root in 1979.
Oh gosh.
It has a deeper root in 1967. It has another root in 1960. Then another root in 1914. It is the collective of all of how did they even get to 1914? There was Berlin Conference. There was the arrival of the British colonialists. There was the early arrival of the Caliphate in 1604.
Tony,
hold on.
Okay.
What we have as constitution today,
Just 1 second.
that is the union definition.
No.
From all these many years of imposition and conquest and all kinds of disease.
That's why it's emotional.
And so, if we draw
that's why,
the 3-year plan to dismantle that constitution and free all of those who are held in bondage here, if anybody is illiterate enough not to understand that, such a person should escape his ignorance under his bed and stop coming to the public space to advertise it.
Yeah, I hear you. I think one of the things.
The stakeholders. There was Biafra in 1967. There was a reason the owners of Shell and Mobil left the countries of the powers of that be at the time. There was a reason they ganged up against Eastern Nigeria. Because Nigeria got them to Nigeria signed off the oil and gas assets of the Eastern region for 50 years. Gowon signed it for them as condition for the war they were coming to help them wage against the East. And so if we say that we have to go around to all the owners of the lands in Nigeria, we went to the Yoruba, we went to Akure or Ondo, everywhere. We went to Ijualand, we went to Tifland, we went to Benin land, we went to Goja, we went to Calabar, everywhere. Tell people that this is what we have to do together. We then went to the international stakeholders to say, you owners of Shell and Mobil, this is what to change. Our quarrel is not because it's not your presence in our space. Our quarrel is the Fulani that signed the concession with you for you. If you agree with us now, since the people are now working with people who are the terror networks of the world, and the operation is being made more difficult by the people resisting you in the Niger Delta, let us, if you go with us, let us take down this constitution that empower them, put them in charge of our assets. We're in a position to sell by ourselves. Everybody will be happy to build on from there. That's what we have to discuss with all of them. If you don't discuss it with them, they are going to be holding on to what they have. If anybody is not able to understand that, such a person is dumb in his head. If I had Ojuku on my drawing board at the time we were planning this, if Achebe had interrogated it and called our people into it, if this Yono is in it, if Ndubisi Kanu was in it, if Ebitukiwe signed up to it in the force majeure we rolled out, then you sit in one stupid corner of New York and say, just run your mouth because you have an internet to speak. I'm ashamed of the people speaking like this.
Tony, I think what we need to do, I understand you, and I like I said myself, I've always.
They are far away from this danger. They think it will never come to them. Look at what is going on in Eastern Nigeria today. Nnamdi Kanu is talking about, did we not sit down with him to explain to him what we were doing? The criminal went sacrificing the lives of our people to make money and fame. I'm not listening to. People still sit and talk, and if you accommodate them in your program, I will not accommodate them.
No, I'm not. Our focus again is today's.
Dumb heads. They are dumb heads.
I understand, Tony.
They are dishonest and dumb heads.
Tony, I understand.
Diplomacy for talking to people who do not care that others are killing people.
I hear you.
People are killing people at home. That's what's going on.
I understand. Listen, Tony. What I will say is that I will probably be bringing the program to an end, but before we go, I just want to go back on that central point, the amendment. How dangerous is that amendment that they put forward to our existence as an indigenous people of the Middle Belt, of the Southwest and Southeast?
I think we have covered all of what we need to cover. That amendment, if we allow it to, it is in our hands to stop it. But if we allow it to pass, then we have handed our lands and our sovereignty to the Fulani. I think we can resume this discussion, in another program.
That's it.
I have to get into another meeting now.
Listen, thank you so much, Tony. I will be in touch later on. Thanks for calling, for taking the time, and I'll be in touch later on. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you for all your great work. Thank you. Talk soon. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, you can hear that we have been bringing the program to an end now. Maybe we might make one or two calls. Today, the program today was really about the amendment. I don't want to get into anything to do with the petition or any of that, because I don't unless I fully understand something, I will not talk about it because it is very important. Tony has had to go to another meeting, so if you do want to call in and make a chat, yeah. So what I will do is just to I'm just going to just round up in a little bit now. Let me just take one or two calls, or somebody just call me. Please, what I will say is this, and this is for all of us as a group. Our focus should be on, as Middle Belt, as Southerners, in removing ourselves from that contraption. That is what we should do. Trying to talk about this, that said, will not solve anything. We need to collectively remove ourselves from that group. I'll take one or two calls and then I'll wrap it up. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Yes, Mr. Citizen AY.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
I always like your program, but today I'm very disappointed for you to invite this stupid man called NNADI that's a judge and bail lawyer to come and be insulting people.
I have just tried.
He is an ignorant man to come out openly to insult people that are calling into your program.
I didn't.
That show the level of stupidity that NNADI is. He's a judge and bail lawyer. He doesn't know anything about Constitution.
Yeah.
First of all, before you deal with the Constitution, you dissolve that country. Nigeria is a scam. First of all, the amalgamation is a scam. So why do you want to destroy the Constitution? You destroy the chicken that lays the egg, which is Nigeria. Then let everybody go on their own.
Okay.
If referendum come, they want to come together. Then they talk about the Constitution. Now we don't need anything about Constitution. We want Nigeria to dissolve.
Yes.
Let everybody go on their own way.
Yes.
Like how you say in the Bible.
Yes.
To your tent.
Yes.
To Israel.
Indeed.
So NNADI is an agent of Nigeria. That is why every time they're in the meeting with our Papa Adebayo, he's always on the phone. Go and look at all the conferences they're doing. He's always on the phone, taking orders from Abuja.
Yeah.
Abuja is telling him,
my brother,
he's a constitutionalist. NNADI. He's a criminal. He's a judge and bail lawyer. Let him go. Why is he not in the prison? Because Sunday Igboho was arrested for speaking for his people. Nnamdi Kanu was arrested. Why is that foolish judge and bail lawyer still working free Nigeria?
let's my brother, look, I know.
Shut his mouth up or else we will shut it up for him. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's just I think right, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to bring this program to an end because the object of this program remains, I reiterate, go and listen to it. It's about the amendment and the impact on our lives collectively. So I'm not going to take any more calls now. The phone line is now switched off. I do not want anybody to, please, our focus must be how we are going to collectively say, free ourselves from bondage, and it will not serve any purpose for us to turn and be fighting each other. I am grateful for the time you've given us to really discuss this issue, but I reiterate, go and look at and listen to the topic we talked about. Specifically, we were talking about the amendments that will impact the life of every single Middle Beltan and Southerner. That is what we are trying to talk about. What I will urge us all to do now is to make sure that in all our communities, we go and tell our people to go and pressure the House of Assembly members and the governors not to accept the amendment that they will be bringing to them. They must reject that amendment. If they do not, believe you me, those of us in diaspora, your homes are gone forever. Your homes are gone forever. Because if the minute that amendment is put in place, Fulani will be running your local government council. They will be chairing it. They will be telling the kings what to. They will take the whole place over. And they are trying to do this and get us to the point of the next election. We need to put a stop to it now. That is what we must do. We must put a stop to that. We have to make sure that we put a stop to that. We will come back and talk about this particular issue again and again and again. The amendment, you've seen the video at the beginning of the broadcast where Tony detailed out what the plans of the government. We must take steps now to alert our people to the dangers that we face. Yes, we are going for independence, but if the land is taken from you before you get that independence, you can't do anything. So our first port of call right now is to first of all make sure that we put pressure on the governors. Minimum of 13 states must reject this, and that must mean that we put pressure on every House of Assembly member, every governor in the southern states, that they must not pass that amendment. Because if they do, those of us who have got homes abroad and at home, if you come back, you will come back and you find that your local council in the south is being run by, it becomes Ruga. It becomes Ruga. So quite apart from your disagreement with Tony or whatever else, what is central right now is that information. Now, it's not only that information, it is the steps we take with that information. Right now, to achieve what we need, this information is part and parcel of what we need to achieve our independence. It is part and parcel of it. So I want us to focus on that. That focus must be how we work together as Middle Belt and as Southerners to make sure that minimum of 13 states outrightly reject conclusively this amendment so that it never flies. And that way, by doing so, it now makes it almost impossible for the 2023 elections to take place. Because if it takes place with the amendment rejected, it is meaningless. With the amendment rejected by 13 states, there is no need for them to have any elections, because there's no basis upon which they can go ahead and continue to perfect the Ruga colony across the south. So this is something that I urge us all to please look at and really understand. Please, I'm going to be rounding up here. I want to thank you all for listening. As people, bloggers and press people who talk about information, our job is to bring information to the public, so to make us aware. Now, sometimes people will disagree with that or how it's delivered or who the person is. The important thing is that information. This amendment now is something that all of us, it will impact us. It is already, if we allow it to get passed in the states, in each of the states. So we urge everybody now to go and tell your family and friends in each of the states that the House of Assembly members and the governors, they must be pressured to not accept that amendment. They must be pressured to not pass that into law in the South, because we, the indigents, if the minute is passed, we've given away we have effectively given up our land, and that is a dangerous situation. We do not want to end up like Palestinians in our own land. So the time is now for us to fix that now. We do not want to end up like Palestinians in our own land. And that is what we are faced with if we do not stop this, put a stop to this. So we need minimum of 13 states. Governors, House of Assembly members, go and speak to your House of Assembly members and governors. Tell them that sovereignty belongs to you, the people. And you, the people of the South, are telling them, we say no to this amendment categorically. We will come back and do more programs about this in English and in Yoruba and other languages. But I want to thank Tony NNADI for coming on board. We are all, look, this is a really difficult situation that we are in collectively. But I urge us all, let's try and use cool, calm heads to achieve our collective goal. The most important message in all of what we said today is that amendment and the steps we must take to stop it, to put a stop to it, that it never becomes law. That is the most important. If we can try and go for any, we can scream Yoruba Nation, Igbo Nation, whatever, we can scream whatever we want. But if the minute that is passed by more than 24 states, the game is over. So we need to really think about what we're doing here. We will come back and talk about this again. Listen, I thank you all very much. I hope you have found this informational and information useful. Now, other things about petition, we're not getting any of that because I do not speak about things unless I get the facts, and I do not. And the program today has been solely about this amendment, which is something that will be beneficial to us all. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining me. You're, of course, watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Please do me one favor. Go ahead and subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube. I want to apologize for the lack of pictures towards the end now. There was some sort of a technical issue, and suddenly I couldn't get the camera. I did put the picture up at some point, and I was able to be live in between. But what's left for me to say now is to thank you all very much for taking the time to come in. Look, as Southerners, we have to hear each other out. Even though it might be uncomfortable, we have to be able to hear each other out. Just go ahead and subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube. Before I leave, as you know what Facebook has been doing, we don't know 1 minute for 1 minute what they're doing, but what I most want to thank you all for joining us, and I hope you found this information useful. And well, it's not hope, it is an important information that we must share. It is something that will impact those of us who have got homes, who are in diaspora, who have got homes. This can impact us if we do not work with those who are home to put a stop to this amendment. We will not have a place to come to, because the Ruga would have taken the whole land and there will be nothing we can do about it. That's what's happening to the T's right now. So we need to take steps. So please go ahead now. Before you leave, what I'd like to say is thank you very much. Subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube. I'll be back later on. We'll give you some more updates of things as and when it progresses. And other things, please, others, people are free to make the decision about doing things about petitions and all that, as they see fit, because that is that's the beauty of being having a democracy, and that's what we try and operate. That's our modus operandi on this program. So what we do say is, of course, check everything that you're doing, but we cannot say either way or not. We're just going to say it's there, that's information, until we verify contrary. So that's all I'm saying. But for now, I want to thank you all so very much. I thank you all for joining me. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back later on with more updates, and I'll be bringing more personalities on the platform. Thank you for your contributions. Sorry if I was not able to answer all the questions. It was quite detailed, the discussions that Tony raised. And like I said, for us as Southerners, it is important. We will have differences. There is no house that doesn't have differences. The key thing is to achieve our common goal, we must work together. That is what I will appeal to all of us to actually bear in mind. We are trying to achieve a common goal, which is to free ourselves from bondage. So I thank you all. Let's have that in mind. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. You're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Of course, please, before you leave, do go ahead and subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube. Thank you so much. Thank you, and have a pleasant evening. I'll be back later on. Thank you, and goodbye. Bye for now. Bye. So those of you on Facebook, thank you so much, and thanks for watching, and I appreciate that. So just a final thank you to those of you who are on YouTube. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for watching. We truly appreciate this, and we will continue to go forward towards Yoruba Nation, Biafra Nation, Middle Belt. We must continue to push for that. Let's not tire. This information is very important. Make sure you share it. It will impact each and every one of us if we do not take steps to put a stop to it. Thank you for watching. You're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Thank you, and goodbye.